All right, welcome back everyone to the deep dive. We've got a really fascinating one for you all today. Before we jump in, I just wanted to mention that today's deep dive is brought to you by Pankaj Shrestha's production.
Yeah, we're both part of his team.
It's been great working with him. Pankaj's he's a real leader, over 30 years of experience driving growth and innovation across a bunch of different industries.
A strategic thinker, really focused on, big picture stuff, and he's got a real passion for AI too.
Definitely. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's get into it. Today we're taking a deep dive into The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. It was published in 1910, so over a century ago.
Yeah, and it's interesting because even though it's from way back then, the way Wattles approaches the topic is so direct and practical.
Yeah, it's not like those super philosophical or abstract books that can be tough to, actually apply to your life. He calls it a practical manual, and he's really aiming it at people who want to build wealth and are willing to use a scientific action date approach.
Right from the start, he lays it out as a system for achieving a specific outcome. And that outcome is, of course, getting rich.
Okay, so let's jump into that first big idea he presents, which is the right to be rich. That's a pretty bold statement right off the bat.
It is, and he's not just saying it's okay to want to be rich. He's actually arguing that it's necessary for a full and successful life.
So it's not just about getting by or being comfortable. He's saying that being rich is essential for actually living your best life.
Exactly. And his reasoning is based on the idea that we develop ourselves, our minds, our souls, and our bodies through the things we have and experience. And in our society, money is the main way we get access to those things.
So for Wattles, money isn't just about material possessions. It's a tool for growth and development in all areas of life.
Right. If you're lacking the resources to experience things, learn, grow, and take care of your well-being, you're essentially limiting your potential.
And he even says that desiring wealth is something to be proud of. It's a natural desire for a more abundant and fulfilling life.
Absolutely. He talks about the three motives for living: the physical, mental, and spiritual. And he makes a point of saying that none of these is superior to the others. They all need resources to be fully expressed.
That makes a lot of sense. You can't really explore your mental potential without access to information and education, just like you can't fully take care of your physical health without proper nutrition and health care.
So he's saying that limiting your ability to acquire those resources is directly limiting your ability to live a full life in all those areas. And wanting to be rich, he says, is really just a natural extension of that fundamental desire for a richer, more expansive experience of life.
So it comes down to having the means to truly reach your potential. Now, the title of the book itself, The Science of Getting Rich, is a pretty big claim.
It is, and in the second chapter, he tackles that head on. He argues that acquiring wealth isn't random. It's not just about luck or being in the right place at the right time.
So he's saying it's not just about talent or working hard either.
Right. He believes there are specific laws that govern the acquisition of wealth, much like math or science. He says that becoming rich is the result of doing things in a certain way.
And he's very clear that this certain way is something anyone can learn and apply, no matter their background, their natural abilities, or even their chosen profession.
Of course, there are some limitations, like you wouldn't expect to get rich selling something nobody wants.
Yeah, that makes sense. But the point is that anyone can learn these principles and apply them to their life to create wealth.
And he even addresses a common concern, which is not having enough money to start with. Wattles says that a lack of initial capital isn't an insurmountable obstacle.
So even if you're starting from scratch, you can still use these principles to build wealth.
Exactly. He believes that acquiring capital is actually a natural outcome of doing things in a certain way. You start where you are, and by applying these principles consistently, you'll inevitably begin to accumulate wealth.
That's pretty empowering. It means your current financial situation doesn't have to define your future. Now let's talk about what he calls the first principle of this science. Thought is creative power.
This is absolutely fundamental to his entire philosophy. He introduces this idea that thought itself has the power to create tangible wealth from what he calls formless substance.
Formless substance. That sounds pretty abstract.
It is. He describes it as thinking stuff. And he believes that any thought of a specific form that's impressed upon this substance will actually cause that form to be created in the physical world.
So our thoughts actually have a creative power to shape reality.
That's the core idea. And he even applies this to the entire universe, suggesting that it originated from thought within this formless substance.
Wow. So he's basically saying that the universe itself was created by thought. And then he brings humanity into the equation, saying that we're like thinking centers that can originate thoughts and impress them upon this substance to manifest what we conceive.
That's right. He lays out three key propositions. First, that this fundamental thinking substance exists. Second, that thought within this substance has the power to create. And third, that we humans have the ability to influence this creation through our own thinking.
So even though the concept of formless substance might seem a bit out there, the takeaway is that our thoughts have a direct impact on our reality.
And this is where the practical application comes in. He says that doing things in a certain way starts with thinking in a certain way. It's about focusing on the underlying truth and potential rather than getting caught up in surface appearances.
And that takes a lot of mental discipline, doesn't it, to consistently focus on thoughts of abundance and well-being, even when your current circumstances might seem to contradict that. He even uses the term mastermind to describe someone who can do this.
It does take discipline. It's about making a conscious and persistent effort to direct your thoughts towards what you want to create, regardless of what you might be experiencing at the moment.
Okay, so let's move on to what Wattles calls increasing life and the creative plane. This seems to tie into the idea of growth and expansion being inherent in the universe itself.
It does. He argues that the intelligent substance that permeates everything inherently desires an increase of life.
So it's like this fundamental drive for growth and expansion that's present in everything.
That's right, and it mirrors what we see in nature, where all living things naturally strive to grow and expand and become more. He suggests that our own desire for more life, for a better life, is actually an expression of this same universal impulse working through us.
So it's like our personal aspirations are aligned with this larger cosmic force for growth and expansion.
Exactly, and he even brings in the concept of God or a supreme intelligence, saying that this higher power wants us to be enriched as a means of achieving fuller expression.
So it's not just about us striving for more. The universe itself, in this view, is actually supportive of our goals and wants us to have what we need to live more fully.
He emphasizes that it's important to align our individual purpose with this larger purpose in all. He talks about seeking what he calls real life, which isn't just about indulging in fleeting pleasures or denying ourselves everything.
It's about expressing all of our capabilities, physically, mentally, and spiritually.
Right. And he talks about shifting from a competitive way of thinking to a creative one.
That idea of moving to the creative plane is really interesting. It suggests that wealth isn't a finite resource that we have to fight over.
Exactly. He argues that you don't have to take anything away from anyone else to become wealthy because the source of wealth, this formless substance, is limitless. You're creating, not competing.
So it's about shifting from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset.
Absolutely. And that's a fundamental shift in perspective.
Now, how does wealth actually come to you in this model? It's not just about thinking positive thoughts, is it? There has to be some action involved.
There is. While thought initiates the process, Wattles is clear that not driving sharp bargains is crucial for sustainably acquiring wealth.
What does he mean by that?
He means providing more value in terms of use than the monetary value you receive in any transaction. Basically, you're adding to the world through your exchanges, not just trying to extract as much as you can.
So it's about creating real value for others.
He gives the example of a book. A book can provide ideas and knowledge that are worth far more than its physical cost.
Right, the value you get from a book can far exceed the price you pay for it.
And the wealth itself, he says, comes from this formless substance permeating your environment, not just materializing out of thin air.
So it's not like magic, there's a process involved.
Right, but to tap into that flow, you need to consistently hold a clear mental image of what you want and have unwavering faith that it's already being created and is on its way to you.
So visualization and faith are key components here.
He suggests that the supreme intelligence works through the minds of others to bring you what you desire. And your desire for wealth, he says, is aligned with that infinite intelligence-seeking expression through you.
So it's all interconnected, our thoughts, our actions, and this larger flow of abundance. Now, one theme that comes up a lot in self-improvement philosophies is gratitude. And Wattles dedicates a whole chapter to it, emphasizing its importance in connecting with this source of wealth.
He sees gratitude as absolutely essential for establishing harmony with this formless intelligence. He says there are 3 steps. First, believing in a single intelligent substance. Second, believing that this substance wants to fulfill your desires. And third, cultivating a deep sense of gratitude in your relationship with it.
So gratitude isn't just a nice feeling to have, it actually plays a practical role in attracting wealth.
He even suggests that a lack of gratitude can actually cut you off from this source.
So it's important to actively cultivate gratitude.
Absolutely. He says that a grateful mind draws closer to the source, leading to more and faster blessings. He even talks about a law of gratitude, where expressing thanks is like sending out a force that brings what you desire closer to you.
So gratitude isn't just passive, it's an active force that shapes our reality.
And he emphasizes how gratitude helps us overcome feelings of dissatisfaction and keeps our minds focused on the best possibilities.
So it's a powerful tool for personal growth as well?
And it fosters faith and positive expectation, which are essential for the creative process of wealth acquisition.
Okay, so let's get into the practical application of all this. Thinking and acting in a certain way. How do we translate these principles into our daily lives?
Wattles reiterates the importance of having a clear mental picture of what you want and holding on to it with unwavering faith and purpose. He talks about living in the new house mentally, really feeling as if you already have what you desire.
So it's not just about visualizing it. It's about feeling it as a reality.
And he emphasizes that your desires manifest through this sustained faith and purpose being reflected in your actions, not just through words or thoughts alone.
So action is crucial. It's not just about passively wishing for things.
He also cautions against misusing willpower. He says it should be directed inwards towards controlling your own thoughts and actions, not trying to control others or force God to do your bidding.
So it's about focusing on your own internal alignment and effort.
He explains that a clear vision held with faith and purpose creates a positive impression on this formless substance, setting things in motion. But doubt and unbelief create a negative counterforce.
So our beliefs and thoughts have a real impact on the creative process.
He also advises against focusing on negativity or studying poverty because that just reinforces a mindset of lack. Instead, focus on the mental image of wealth.
So it's about feeding your mind with what you want to create, not what you want to avoid.
And he makes a point of saying that acquiring wealth through this creative process benefits everyone. It's not a zero-sum game where one person's gain is another person's loss.
Right, it's not about taking from others, it's about creating something new.
And he emphasizes the importance of taking action now, in the present moment. Do everything you can as effectively as you can, and infuse every action with faith and purpose.
So it's about consistently pushing forward, doing your best in every moment.
He says that advancement comes from constantly striving to exceed where you are now.
Now, what about finding the right path or vocation? He talks about getting into the right business. How do you align your work with your aspirations?
He says that true success comes from using your talents and abilities in a field you genuinely enjoy and have a desire to pursue. He reassures us that we can develop the necessary skills, and that having a strong desire often indicates a hidden potential within us.
So if you're passionate about something, that's a good sign you might have the potential to succeed in it.
And he suggests that the best way to change your business or your environment is generally through growth and expansion within your current situation, all while holding on to that clear vision of your desired future.
So it's about taking practical steps in the present while maintaining a focus on your long-term goals.
Once you're in a business or even in your current job, he talks about conveying the impression of increase. He says this is key because everyone wants to see progress and growth.
So it's about projecting an attitude of success and abundance.
By operating according to this certain way, you're creating increase for yourself, and you should also try to impart that sense of increase to others.
So it's about spreading that positive energy and expectation of growth.
He even cautions against trying to dominate others, saying that's a sign of a competitive mindset that ultimately limits your potential.
Instead, it's about creating a win-win situation for everyone involved.
In his final chapter, The Advancing Man, he reiterates how these principles apply to all professions and offers some closing guidance.
So no matter what field you're in, these principles can help you create success.
He emphasizes that giving an increase of life to others through your work is the key to attracting success.
So it's about contributing to the well-being of others, not just focusing on your own gain.
He reaffirms that consistently applying focused thought and purposeful action leads to success. Even if you're a wage earner, you can start building wealth by forming a clear vision and acting with faith and purpose in your current job.
So it's not about waiting for the perfect opportunity. It's about taking action now.
He addresses skepticism about limited resources, saying that this certain way operates independently of current systems. He advises against falling back into competitive thinking and stresses the importance of self-correction.
So it's an ongoing process of growth and development.
He says not to dwell on potential problems, trust that solutions will arise, and maintain an optimistic outlook. He encourages us to see the world as a process of becoming.
So it's about embracing change and possibility.
He explains that setbacks can actually lead to greater successes if you keep your faith and purpose and gratitude. And he reassures us that the talents and abilities we need will develop as we progress.
So it's a journey of continuous learning and growth.
His final advice is to study the science of getting rich regularly and avoid contradictory ideas until these principles are firmly rooted in your mind.
So it's about immersing yourself in this way of thinking and really committing to it.
So, to wrap up this deep dive into the science of getting rich, the core message seems to be that by understanding and applying the principles of focused thought, unwavering faith, clear purpose, consistent gratitude, and efficient action, all within a mindset of creation rather than competition, we can unlock unlimited potential for wealth and abundance.
It's a powerful framework for personal and financial growth that challenges conventional wisdom and offers a new perspective on what's possible.
It certainly does.
And on that note, I'll leave you with this. How might actively cultivating those thoughts and focusing on creating genuine value not only transform your own financial well-being, but also shift your perspective from one of limitation and struggle to one of boundless opportunity? And how might that shift not only benefit you, but also have a ripple effect on the lives of everyone around you? That's something to think about. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.